Should the 49ers draft Justin Fields number 3 overall?
Well, if I were them and he was on the board, it would be a total no-brainer. But also, if I were the Jets, I would be taking him at 2. Brandon and I are two of the rare people whose quarterback, hierarchy did not change dramatically once the game stopped being played. Justin Fields' stock is dropping as if he suffered a major injury or had an arrest, and neither happened. Yet all college football season, he was the second best quarterback. It was Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and now all of a sudden he's the 4th. Is he the 5th best quarterback? I don't know what's happening there. But the Niners are in a very unique spot because they traded up for the 3rd pick with 2 things in mind. One is they traded up for the 3rd pick with the knowledge that Lawrence is going to be gone and almost assured that Zach Wilson's going to be gone. So they knew whichever quarterback they wanted must be someone that's not Lawrence or not Zach Wilson, and he was still worth the 3 first-round picks. The question I would have for Coach is this. They are spending 3 first-round picks on this player. I think most people would agree that the argument for Mac Jones is pro-ready, low floor. And the argument for Justin Fields is a far, far higher ceiling to go along with he excelled against the best competition. If you were running a team, Coach, that's a really good team, that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and you had given up that type of capital for one player, would you be more inclined to go with the safer player or the player that has the better odds of being one of the best in the league, given what you've outlaid for the pick?
I am always shocked that you're surprised that draft evaluations change after people get to look at the tape and really spend time on the players and not just do TV research. Like that's part of the process. And I know you love Ohio State quarterbacks. I'd say that as you're evaluating this, you want to look not just at their potential short term, but at the ceiling. And the thing that you struggle with when you look at a quarterback from Alabama is they're almost in a pro system and they're surrounded by so much pro talent, and you wonder how much they can grow moving forward. I actually like Justin Fields a lot, and I don't think he's a running quarterback, but I think he's a quarterback that can run. I like his efficiency. I like his accuracy. I think there's going to need to be some development in terms of full field reads. But there's so much to like about him. It makes sense for San Francisco to want to get him in that spot.
Oh, Coach, I don't know. I'm not sold on the fact that the Jets already made their mind up on Zach Wilson. I think the 49ers should be talking about taking Zach Wilson because I don't see him getting past the Jets. How can you? If rarity was a commodity, he would be the most valuable thing in the draft right now. We're talking about a guy that plays the quarterback position. He's a 4.4 40. He has a talented of an arm. He's talented with his arm. He can make all the throws. He's super smart. He's a great leader. He's highly competitive. So what are we talking about here? This dude is something that we haven't seen in a long time. You talk about him running, Coach. I truly believe when you have guys like this, what they usually tell you is they say, hey, the quarterback position, we want to put you in a box. You got to be the quarterback, stay in the pocket. So I believe that 4.4 40, we've never really seen it play out on the biggest stage because all he's been doing is overcompensating to be this quarterback that we're telling all these guys that can run to be. So now I think you're going to see that when you pair him in New York with LaFleur, a guy that comes from the 49ers, the passing game coordinator, spent a lot of time with his brother, spent a lot of time with Kyle Shanahan, and we know what they like to do. I talked to someone on that coaching staff at Ohio State, and they said, Brandon, this dude wants to win every single sprint. This dude is super smart. Because I asked him, am I missing this? He said, no, Brandon, you're not missing. I said, is the kid smart? He said, he's sometimes too smart. So this whole thing about football IQ, he has it. He understands what's happening before it's happening. I said, what about his arm? I see his arm. We see the big throws on pro day, but, there's no one out there. There's no pads. There's no helmet. He said, turn on the film and see how if he misses just big time. He doesn't do that. When he lets it rip, he rips it. So Nick, I'm missing this. Wow, I feels like I'm missing it. But I got to continue to do my due diligence because I don't see him getting past the Jets at 2.
Okay, I think he is getting past the Jets at 2, unfortunately. The question is he going to get past the 49ers? Because, Coach, I find it very odd that the 49ers would trade up in the draft, and then when they were faced with the decision of who they were going to take, their answer is, not quite sure yet. So it's sort of like episode of The Bachelor. Oh, marry either one of these people. Love them both. Like, what? That's not going to work. Throughout the draft, people trade up with a guy in mind. You trade up for Goff. You trade up for Mahomes. You trade up for Wentz. Maybe Wentz didn't work out, but at least you had a clear decision. We are trading up because we love this guy. The idea that they're packing their bags and going to the airport, say, hey, where are you headed? Like, not sure. Somewhere warm. We've got shorts in the suitcase. Like, it just seems weird that they would make a decision, get to the final step, and not know who they're going to choose.
I don't think that's strange. Remember, there's still 2 teams to pick ahead of them. You better like a couple guys. You better feel that there's 2 guys that can fill your needs because you don't know what the Jets are going to do. And there is some conflict in the draft room. I remember when I had a number 4 over pick and we were looking at either DeBrickashaw Ferguson or Vernon Davis. I loved Vernon Davis. But what made sense as we kept going through the process is to get the left tackle. And Brick played like 12 years at a very high level, and it was the smart pick. But you had to go through all the discussions to make sure that you find the guy that's right for you. And Brandon, the only thing I'll say about talking to college coaches is they're always going to say good things about guys because they want their guys to get drafted high because it helps their recruiting. So there's a little grain of salt with that stuff.
Well, if this guy lied to me, then we're going to have problems because we go back 15 years, so he better be giving me the right information. Look, I do want to say this, though, all right, because this is a big discussion, and it's not like just sitting up here trying to entertain. I truly believe that Justin Fields can go down as a great quarterback that the NFL has ever seen. If you go to quarterbackcollective.com, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see a huge picture of Justin Fields. And this is the only pro-style development pipeline for the high school quarterback. Now, this is interesting. This is where the stuff gets deep. Now, if you scroll down, who are you going to see? Sean McVay. And then we always talk about coaching trees. Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick. You can go on and on and on. Coach Walsh. And then you got Coach Mike Shanahan. And we keep talking about this offense and what they do and how they develop guys and how they think and how they approach the game. You got Mike Shanahan sitting here. Under him, you have Kyle Shanahan. You have Sean McVay. You have Matt LaFleur. You have Mike LaFleur. They're telling you this is our tree. Now, who's working out together? Zach Wilson and Justin Fields. So this whole conversation about, Mac Jones, it's real. I do believe teams really like him. He's pro-ready right now, Nick. But I'm telling you, the 49ers and the Jets, it's going to come down to Zach Wilson and Justin Fields. And I'm saying it again. We can't let Justin Fields get past 2. The New York Jets organization can't let it happen.
Okay, at some point, I feel like Brandon is still in the first stage of grief, denial, on the fact that Justin Fields is not going to be a New York Jet. The entire football world has seemingly acknowledged it, except for Brandon, who's holding on to hope for it. On Mac Jones, just quickly here before we move on, I think that Niners Brain Trust should at least throw this question around in the meeting. If we draft Mac Jones, what is the furthest Justin Fields could fall in the draft? If we draft Justin Fields, what is the furthest Mac Jones could fall in the draft? Because I feel like if they don't take Mac Jones at 3, he could fall all the way outside of the top 10, maybe all the way to 15 in New England. That is impossible to happen with Justin Fields, which to me speaks to what the better pick would be. But there is so much smoke surrounding Mac Jones, Jenna, that it has to be taken seriously.
Yep. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.